Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Ben Kernick, and today I'm going to be providing you some background on Naviate, explain where it's come from, why does it exist within the first place, and what does it have within it to be able to support the many challenges that our customers have fed back to us over the years. So following the short introduction, it'll take about 10 minutes. I'm then going to hand you over to our technical specialist, Thomas. So he's going to be demonstrating the technology in a lot more detail and cover some of the more common features and associated benefits our customers value. Okay, so from a high level, what is Naviate and what are the challenges that it sets out to address? Well, essentially, Naviate is a technology ecosystem and it enables our customers to be able to spend more time on valuable design work and far less time on repetitive, manual-based, labor-intensive tasks. And that, of course, provides more capacity to be able to do more of what we enjoy. Now, it's fully integrated within Autodesk Civil 3D, and it sets out to maximize user productivity and reduce the risk of error through an integrated suite of workflow enhancement tools, educational content, and technical support. Now, Naviate has been born out of industry and user feedback. So each function within Naviate can, in the main, be directly associated with a customer request. Now, it's this community, it's now about 10,000 users, together with industry-leading experts such as yourselves, that have supported the development over the last kind of 12 or 13 years, and as a Naviate community, continue to make it so successful today. So what have we learned from customers assisting us within being able to develop the platform up to now? Well, initially, whilst there's a recognized value within the Autodesk solution, together with an appreciation that now many are becoming somewhat industry standard, it is clear to see from user feedback that the workflows within Civil 3D are in some areas very limited, and many of them need enhancing and automating to simply reduce the amount of time that we spend on non-valuable activity, which of course can have somewhat of a negative impact on those required to use them. Now, to address that challenge, the core functionality that comes as part of Naviate really sits within what we would call the workflow optimization pillar, and that's very much the area that we're going to focus on within the deep dive today. So Naviate expands the existing toolset of Civil 3D with over about 190 additional productivity tools. Now, of course, it's impossible for us to be able to cover them all today, but we will instead kind of focus within the more commonly used features that our customers benefit from. Now, we also get feedback that whilst there's various third-party productivities that you can choose from, many of them are purely individual tools which address a specific customer need. So that means not only does a customer have to procure these from multiple sources, which of course can collectively become expensive, they also have the ongoing management overhead of deploying them individually and keeping all of them up to date. Now, another aspect that we also must consider is the user experience and that inconsistency of utilizing different tools and the resulting challenge that can have on user adoption and, of course, the realized benefit. So whilst there's a limited number of tools available within the market free of charge, we also need to ask ourselves what the real cost of these are. Many can be poorly managed, sometimes they can be out of date. And if one was to corrupt, the model that you're working in, would that developer accept ownership and have the capacity and technical expertise to be able to put things right? Now, another way of achieving much needed automation is, of course, through the utilization of tools such as Dynamo. And whilst this is a great solution for specific requirements, customers have started to appreciate just how much time is needed to not only develop the initial scripts, but more so an appreciation of having to manage them moving forward. Now, what's more, with everyone looking to achieve the same level of automation within many of these common areas, it doesn't make a lot of sense for all of us to be investing within the same thing, and especially when our business models are built on charging customers for our own time. Now, another consideration and potential risk is that of intellectual property sitting within one person, and of course that valuable resource potentially leaving the business. Again, to address the challenges, Naviate does have a comprehensive, consolidated set of features. And when supported by a unified interface, that eases learning and it supports adoption, driving successful utilization. So Naviate supports its users in being able to drive consistent quality through built-in standards. So these might be associated to predefined settings within the provided templates or specifications built within the actual functionality itself. So having such a broad set of tools available, Naviate can support its customers in being able to remove the burden of having to procure and manage all of those multiple third-party technologies. It can also remove the overhead and the risk of developing automation in-house and allow customers to be able to focus on what they do best. Now, considering also the dependency that we have on technology that fundamentally underpins our design process, optimizing a team's capability through training is also key. But whilst this is commonly recognized, it's certainly nothing new. There is a tendency to be able to forget the importance of continuous learning and the ability to keep up with the changes of ever developing technology. Now, the realization is that learning, it can't be static, and it certainly can't be a tick in the box exercise that purely fulfills the requirement of a yearly appraisal. So before looking to enhance Civil 3D with productivity features, there is a recognized skills gap that we need to close within the core technology itself, and in turn being able to maximize better the return on that existing Autodesk investment. Now, this is something that's quite close to my heart. So going back to when I focused within organizational development, an interesting book called Committed to Memory focused on the challenges around memory retention. So whilst active learning is important, it also needs to be relative to the task in hand and available on demand. Now, if applied directly after consumption, of course, the chances of retention increase tenfold and provide a much better foundation to be able to recall that knowledge down the line. So again, to address such a need, Naviate differentiates itself due to being developed by an Autodesk Platinum partner, and as such, it provides a comprehensive e-learning platform which customers can use to further develop those skills within the Autodesk portfolio of technologies, inclusive of the Naviate training itself. Now, to accommodate the different styles of learning, Naviate comes with a range of different media. So that covers things like workflows, courses, instructional videos, and individual reference documents. Now, it's instantly available through a mobile device or a web browser, and it also neatly sits within the core Autodesk application to be able to support in-session learning. Most customers actually utilize the powerful search function. So that provides you the ability to essentially search on any word spoken within one of the instructional videos. So whilst visual learning has become a lot more popular these days, the platform there provides it provides a great way of being able to quickly find relevant content and deliver it via bite-sized chunks, again, being able to support the challenges around retention. Now, another concern was in relation to ongoing technical issues that a team might face and the effect that that can potentially have on project delivery. So with the pressure on, delays can, of course, cause unnecessary stress. And as a result, that can obviously develop into a negative situation. But that's probably been more so around COVID and, of course, the requirement for all of us to be working remotely. But whilst the benefits of optimizing workflow and closing the skills gap are, of course, evident, customer feedback highlights the fact that that can be easily corroded if it's not protected. So again, underpinned by an Autodesk Platinum partner, Naviate comes with access to technical support, but just like that of the learning element, it also covers the Autodesk portfolio as well as the Naviate itself. So having such an insurance policy, of course, it will reduce the stress on a team, it protects user well-being, and it really provides a confidence to be able to explore more efficient methodologies of working rather than what we always do is sort of stick with what we know. So the assistance can be accessed through several different channels, and whilst in the main, users are going to be put directly through to a dedicated, if I can say the word, dedicated technician, the agreed SLA will actually provide a response within an hour. So not only does the service kind of aid within things like installation and licensing requirements, more importantly, it supports the imparting of knowledge to be able to further supplement and expand that value that we achieve through Naviate Learning. So one way of kind of looking at it is having a virtual trainer on demand. Now, finally, the Naviate community is also an extremely important part of that ecosystem. And as a member, it provides a platform for collaboration and the opportunity for users to be able to discuss their technical requirements as well as table ideas on how to overcome them. Now, for Symmetry, it provides us direction on what customers really need, and in turn, considerations that drive future development. So having such an agile outsourced development team, which can easily respond to specific customer requirement, yet provide that same functionality to the masses at a cost that's attainable, is clearly beneficial for us all. So Naviate is not just a productivity add-in. Instead, it's an ecosystem of technology and services providing many features that our customers can benefit from. Now, it has been developed by Symmetry, an Autodesk Platinum partner, and we are indeed unique because we have the ability to not only support the native Autodesk technologies, we obviously support the productivity and optimization that comes with Naviate, essentially being a one-stop shop for all. Okay, so with that said, it's now time to take a deeper look at the technology. So I'll pass you across to our product manager, Thomas Nilsson.
Thank you, Ben. As you might hear, I'm not English, I'm Swedish. So it's just loads of water between us, but we're pretty close. So I'll be showing parts of Naviate today. I'm going to start off with some slides just to let you know that we're going to look at Naviate Infrastructure for Civil 3D. It's actually 3 modules in a suite together, which is called Infrastructure, but it's Road, Pipe, and Landscape. It's been developed since 2009. And we do work with an agile development team in close cooperation with our clients. So many of the features have been developed out of requests from our clients. We're releasing 4 times a year. We're now supporting versions 22 to 2019. Just very briefly, as I said, 3 modules in a Naviate Pipe, Naviate Landscape, surface elevation tools and so, and Naviate Road for more kind of road design tools incorporating assembly management and corridor settings and a few stuff there. I want to mention that we actually have a 4th module, but it's not included in the infrastructure package. It's a separate one. It's called Naviate Traffic, and it has traffic signs, line markings, cross markings, 3D, and so. But it's, as I said, not included in that infrastructure bundle. I will not be showing this one today, but good to know that that one also exists. So I'm going to have quite a high pace with this demo because I got a list from both customers and colleagues. So it's an extensive demo I'm going to try to fit in. Normally I try to have like 30 or 45 minutes for each of those 3 modules. I'm going to start off with road design, and this is actually one of the requests we got from a UK customer to be able to, if I shift to Naviate Road, to be able to join alignments, especially when alignments come from InfraWorks. You get different alignments depending on how you constructed it in InfraWorks. So I'm going to start off by just showing what I have here, of course. I have an alignment there, and that continues on the 2nd alignment here. Each of those 2 alignments has a profile view and a design profile connected to that. So once again, I'll start to join alignments. I select the first alignment, and then I select the alignment to join and press enter. And I'm asked if I want to join the profiles as well. So please pay attention to this top profile that's going to extend. So as these 2 profiles were connected in elevation, it was added to that profile, the design profile of that one. So they are now joined. Moving on profile tools, I won't cover all of them here, of course, but this one could be an interesting thing. Offset profile. Sometimes you want to offset a profile from an existing one. It could be a surface profile to maybe show a certain depth, or you want to have a bottom profile of a top profile. So I'm going to select this one here. So that's my design profile. And I'm going to accept the defaults. It's going to be 1.5 meter lower. Press OK. If I now modify anything, change that one, all I need to do is restart the offset command, select the same profile. I can now change the settings or just click OK and it's updated. It's the same profile, so if this profile is used in a corridor or something, it updates, no problem. So next step, from this joint alignment, I am going to create, I'm going to use the standard offset alignment. So I'm just going to create the edges of the road here. And with them, I'm going to show you our functionality to create bus stops or laybys. You probably know that there is an add widening command in Civil. That one has a limitation to one default setting. So and normally when you work with laybys and bus bays, and so you have different rules for different types of laybys or bus bays. But you only have one setting actually available. We have created a separate file where we can add any kind of setting to laybys. So I have 5 options in this file here. I'm going to use the UK bus bay setting here and select to add the widening and then add it to that position there, and it's added in there. So you just select which setting you want to use and it works in the same way. So that's now a standard Civil 3D widening. It works as the other ones. This edit bus stop actually is the normal edit widening command. Another feature here is curb returns. Sometimes you want to create curb returns with specific settings. I'm going to start off by snapping to some points here. Let's see if I can have this on. Okay. So let's see, I'll type intersection instead to grasp that one. I think I failed on something here. Yeah, that elevation is not 0. I need to modify that one. I'll redo it. Once again, the top point, the intersection point, and there we go. So in here, I have a combination of arcs, and this is also an external file where I can add different combinations. It can be 3 arcs, it can be 5 arcs, it can be 2 arcs, and it's a combination of fixed and floating arcs. For instance, here I changed this one to 12 meters. The second one is 150. I press preview and I see if that's good enough. You know, if I'm not happy, I press escape. I can re-enter and change the values. Otherwise, I press enter and select which objects I want to create the alignment from. Maybe reverse that one and just go, okay, there's my alignment. So that's my curb return. So it's a bit more versatile than the existing ones. The next step here is to work with assemblies. And in Civil today, you might know that there's no really good way of working or sharing assemblies. You can copy and paste and so, but it's a nightmare to keep track of versioning and sharing assemblies. So this tool here is to allow you to share your assemblies between your colleagues or within a project or within an office or so. In the top here, I have a number of different folders to work with. So I have a standard folder, which is the standard folder that Naviate supplies our sub-assemblies or assemblies, which also includes the assemblies that come with the UKIE country kit for Civil 3. So you can notice that some here are from that one. We can also support project folder. So this project folder means that it actually finds a folder beneath your data shortcut folder. So that's named Assemblies NV for Naviate. So we add those to the subfolder to your data shortcut folder, and it means that when you activate different projects, you get different default assemblies for that project. Makes it easier to coordinate within the project. It can also be a web, a network-based folder, and this also works in BIM 360. So let's try to import one. So the workflow is that someone publishes my assemblies, and I'm right now a consumer of assemblies. So I'm taking one 2-lane guardrail and drainage assembly. I see a preview from it. I click import, place it in my drawing. We can now see that it says it's been imported, which date it had when it was created, and which version it has. So I'll soon modify this assembly. Zooming in, we can see the assembly. I'll make sure to move these ones backwards and to back there. So I'm going to simulate that me and a colleague are working in the same project. He inserts the same subassembly or assembly, sorry, into another drawing. So right now I'm the colleague. And when he looks in here, he says that this one back also, the subbase, he thinks is not deep enough. We want to increase that width or depth. So I'm going to use another tool that we have. So we have tools for replacing values, search and replace values, both values and numbers and text. So I'm going to use this one here to find and replace a number. I can either specify which parameter I want to change, or I can search for a certain value. Now I know that my subbase is 42 centimeters. So if I click search here, it's going to find where I've used the number 42 centimeters. We can see it's on layer 4 depth. So it's the 4th layer in these subassemblies, but it's also in the lane and in the shoulders. Let's now change that one to 60 centimeters to replace, and the subbase is changed. So the workflow now is that I or my colleague selects to publish this assembly to the next version. It used to be number 3. It detects which version it should have and where it's normally placed. If I would like to add it to my project instead, I can do that. But I'm adding it to the same. It says it already exists, but I want to overwrite it. We create a copy so we can revert back if we want to. So now that one has been published, I go back to my original drawing. So now I'm myself once again. And in here, I also have a tool to verify my inserted assemblies. So I do that. I run the verify inserted assemblies, and it now says it's found a change. So if I go update, it's going to show me that you have version 3. But in the library, it's version 4. So I'm moving it downwards here so we can see that the subbase will update. So I do update, and it updates the subbase. It also writes on the command line here what's been changed, which subassembly and which parameter that was changed, so we can keep track of that. Within these kind of functionalities, we also have a tool for inserting subassemblies. So this one works on any drawing. If you create your own subassemblies, you probably know that there is a bit of work to be able to distribute subassemblies across your team. This one does not require a tool palette to insert it. So you don't need to import anything. The only thing you need is to have the runtime files on your machine, which is more simple to distribute. So I select a drawing. You can select any drawing actually, and we can import any subassembly in that drawing. So right now I'm looking at our Naviate curb subassemblies. I'm inserting the curb type A, and I'm pointing to the point to insert it on. There, I'm going to change the scale. And the beauty here, because I have multiple subassemblies of the same subassembly but with different settings. So if I want to change this one, I can apply the settings from another one, which means you can have variants, and if you want to change a variant, you notice that I just apply the properties and that same subassembly is reading those settings from that one. Could also be very handy when you want to change coding or values or so. I'm removing that one, returning to actually I'm jumping. So right now we've created the settings for the corridor. I'm just skipping one step here. I've just created a corridor using the standard corridor creation tool. So now I have a corridor with that assembly that I imported. With this one, I want to show a couple of things. The first one being our corridor settings tool to import corridor settings. It's quite often a nightmare actually, or at least a tough job to set up the surface settings, the slope pattern settings, and maybe the frequency settings for each corridor. So we've had a tool for quite a long time to be able to import corridor settings from another corridor. So this can actually be any corridor that you saved. However, so we are also working, as I mentioned, with a project-dependent folder or a standard folder. So I can set up a template corridor for my specific projects. And this tool will automatically find the one that's connected to this project. So in this way here, I can select to import surfaces. I can select to import slope patterns. Also, I can import the styles. I can import the corridor frequency that's been set up in the corridor. So these are the corridors that reside in this drawing. So I just import all the styles from there. I click OK, and you will see that slope patterns will appear and also that my corridor surfaces will appear. So some of you might know that this is a copy of this tool has been created by Autodesk in the latest 22.2 version. We've had it for years. We have some other abilities. I mentioned one. We can connect different templates in different projects. So it automatically selects the one that the project manager has set up for you to use. We also store the information in the or on the corridor, so we know which corridor template you used, which Civil function doesn't do. And I'll show this by removing the slope patterns on one of the sides. I guess you're familiar with changes in the project. So someone discovers that we need to modify stuff like how the corridor surface is built, which code to build it from, or which slope patterns to use. And then we can have hundreds of drawings that need updates. So we have stored information on which corridor we took this information from. So the next time, let's say, so we have a batch command. So this command, update corridor settings, can actually be batch run by a script, updating each drawing. And I'm now going to ask it to read the corridor data that we have saved, update the corridor frequency now, but right now only the slope patterns. So as you see, the command was only command based or command line based, which means it's scriptable. So we now found the settings that were stored on the corridor. We can update the surface, corridor surfaces and the corridor slope patterns to the changes that you might have done to the template file. Okay, so also in here we have a tool to turn off slope patterns. Sometimes you want to keep your drawing clean. It's on the same layer as the corridor, so this is very tricky to do manually. You need to remove them. You don't want to do this. With this tool, I can turn them on and off. Moving on with labeling and feature lines. So we have one command or a couple of commands for exporting the the corridor. This is basically the same tool as Civil has for exporting feature lines from corridor. However, we have a translation tool built in here where we can change the coding, the names of the codes on the left and right side, and we can build the styles when the feature lines are exported. One of our UK customers uses this one and says that he saves a bunch of hours every time he exports because we can set up the different codes on the left and right side and create the layers according to their wishes. So I'm going to export the crown and the EC as feature lines. Same tool if I want to do 3D polylines or alignments from the feature line. And right now I'm going to not only export the feature lines, I'm going to label them. So I'm going to open our label feature lines command, which then appears like this. I have the ordinary feature line labels. It's been set up in our Naviate template. So all I need to do now is to actually click OK. The feature lines have been selected, but I have a special setting here, interval by alignment. I only want my labels to be placed at a certain interval, for instance 20 meters, but maybe my corridor is built on 5 meters and additional intervals depending on where my segments start and end. So this would be a tedious job to insert those because you would most probably have more dense interval in the curves, so you would need to remove those labels. Of course, if we move on, the labels in Civil kind of update a bit strangely. So we'll see this if I go to my corridor and I add that bus stop I recently created as a target for my right side. I'm going to select that one, the right side, add it, and rebuild the corridor. And when that's been done, you're going to see all the labels move because this is how Civil behaves. Because I had new stations in the corridor, so all labels are moved. It's been ruined. But of course, there's a solution here. This is our Naviate Object Explorer. So many of the objects that Naviate creates has its own explorer. The label set that I created is in here. We can see it's the crown, ECL, and ECR. And all I now need to do is to select to update them all, and they are hopefully updated. There. I must have select something wrong. So now you can see it's been updated. It follows the new feature line appearance and the same interval that I had previously. Okay, so I'm going to close down this drawing. I'm going to open another one, and I'm going to do some. So let's see that one. I'm going to show some slides. Exporting corridor solids, we have a tool for that. It's got some more simple interface than the standard Civil one. It's easier to select the corridor, the different codes in there. If I want to create a filter, all I need to do is click save here, and I can save the ones that I've selected here. And I can then reuse it by clicking open, and we're going to get those specific codes. So it's much easier to have the same export every time. We can divide the solids into intervals, minor intervals like this one, frequency every 20 meters, depending on how you calculated them when you created the corridor. And we can do the same with corridor links to create solids from them. Please also notice that we have setups for prefix of the layers. So this is the standard UK prefix to make sure the solids end up in a certain layer. And when we create the solids, we can add property sets. And those property sets can either be our standard one, Naviate Corridor, or it can actually be any of the Naviate ADM and property sets. So we have a tool in Naviate to import the ADM and property sets. So this one reads the Excel spreadsheet that is supplied for the ADM and property sets. And you can browse that file and find the property set, import it, or add it directly to an object, and you will see that one appearing here. So going back here, so I have already in this drawing exported all the solids from the corridor. So what we see here is actually the corridor solids. I'm going to use my tool to analyze the information. This tool can analyze any property set data that you have created or added, be it Civil, yourself, or Naviate. If I click search, it's going to find all my solids that exist with that property set. I'm going to show just one. So if I click one here, there you will see that solid being there, and we can see that the property set with information is in here. I can create filters. Maybe I want to see only the paved one. I click search. You can see that it's the paved that is appearing. I can select to display the area sum or the volume sum. So I can see it in the drawing where you have the volume. I can, of course, create tables in the drawing, and I can export to CSV for volume calculation. I am going to actually look at one more filtering. Let's say I want to see all solids on station 180. Do the search and maybe enter the object viewer there. That's that part. In the CSV here, so let's select some again. So in the CSV here, button here, I can export to CSV. I can also use a match properties. So this one is kind of interesting. Maybe if you have a list of which layer each of the codes should reside on, we could scan the drawing for each solid that has a specific code, a match with an external text file, which layer it should be on. We will import the layer into the property set for each of the different codes, and you could use our layer from NV property here that will move the object to that layer. So that can be used for any kind of coding that you would like to import or combine, be it layers or external codes. The export CSV possibility allows me to export this information to a spreadsheet. I've already done this, so I have a CSV file. I'll double click that one. So this is what's going to be exported. So these are the different property set properties. And these are the different objects, solids or lines or whatever it is. Please notice that we save the handle. So if you modify anything in this file, you can actually import it back into the drawing file. You can also use one of our prepared Excel spreadsheets to analyze using Excel pivot tables. This allows me to create filters on the information from the different objects from the drawing. So I can filter on a specific subassembly or whatever I have in my filtering, or maybe down to a certain change. I can, of course, also, so let's say we reset these, change the presentation. Maybe I want to see the different sub-assemblies and then each code, or have it the vice versa or so. It's loads of possibilities in analyzing the numbers in here. And it can also combine different values from different object types. It doesn't have to be solids, it can be lines, and anything that you actually added the same property set to. Could be pipes as well. Okay, I think I'll jump over to our pipe demonstration. Of course, I'm just going to show a bit of the pipe functionalities. I'm going to start off by having I have a drawing with a couple of surfaces. I have a parking surface, that's a smaller one there, and I have an existing ground, which is a larger one. I also have some pipe networks, but they are only predefined. There's nothing in there. It's to save some time, and it's to show our ability to add to existing networks. One of the things that we find users often like is to create pipe networks from multiple polylines, because the civil one only allows you to select one at a time, and you can't add to an existing existing pipe network. So I'm selecting 3 different polylines here now. What I did was I selected those 3 polylines here. And I now select to add it to one of my existing networks called sewage. So we're using the foul water system. I'm going to create concrete pipes, 225. I'm going to create manholes. Please notice that we have start and ending structure and intermediate structures. I'm not going to use this one now because I'm going to say the same size on this one, but it actually means that I can have on this polyline here, I could have created a manhole there, and in between I could have had one of the null structures, so it doesn't create a visible structure, which Civil doesn't do in their tool. So intentionally, I'm going to add it to the wrong surface, existing ground, because I'm going to change it afterwards. So selecting all these, we can see the objects appearing like this. So it's adding to an existing pipe network. It creates it on multiple polylines. Let's change the scale a little bit like that. See, it's 250 size storms. From this one here, I would like to create a spanning label because I'm going to use this one, this pipe span quite a few times. I'll show you the possibility of using that one. So that one created a pipe spanning label, and I'll just show it there. The beauty with spanning labels is that when I select that one, it selects all the pipes in that pipe run. So what I would like to do now is to offset this pipe network. I want to have another pipe network following that one, parallel. And that's why I'm using offset pipe network. And instead of selecting the start and ending pipe, I can now select the pipe label, and we will use that. So to offset a pipe network, we have different settings. So I want to now offset a pipe below 35 centimeters to the right, and it makes the default settings. I can click preview, and you will see the white polyline here moving. If I now want to add half outer diameter by selecting that pipe there, I'm simulating that that pipe should actually be moved another couple of centimeters, because this line will be my center line. However, we now notice that it will still collide with those structures. So to make it look a bit better in the demo here, I'm going to make it 1 meter apart. It's a bit too wide, but that's what I want to do now. So that's creating a dynamic polyline actually to that network. And we can use this polyline to either create a pipe network or a pressure network. So I'm going to do the pipe network and just click OK. And we actually come back to the same window as previously, which will allow us to create a new pipe network from that polyline. I'll add it to my storm. I will do a concrete pipe again, and I will select the, let's see, those, yeah, same manholes there. And I'm now going to use the center line because that's what's been created there. And we now have a parallel pipe network to that. I will soon be showing that one, but before I do that, I want to do another thing. I'm going to work with our service connection. So service connection is the ability to create or connect a pipe network or a pipe from one network to a pipe in another network, which is not possible in Civil. So selecting that pipe, I'll turn off my snap, and I will pick a point on that pipe and an ending to that service pipe. I will connect or add these to my storm sewer. Sorry, storm service, my service pipes for storm. I'm going to create another concrete pipe. I can determine which elevation or how to connect the pipes. So this means I want to connect center to center. I can connect invert to invert or crown to crown, or a specific surface cover or an offset from the top of the main pipe. I want to connect this pipe by holding the slope in 2%. And I want to connect a second structure at the end of this pipe, and it's going to be a gully. Okay, there it is. Let's now say we have an area here or house area. I want to connect to a certain point here and with a certain angle to this one here. So I'm going to start the service connection once again, select the pipe I want to connect to. But I'm now going to select a reference line from the point there. And I get a temporary line, and I can select which angle I want to connect to this pipe with. So I will now not accept 90, I will select 45 instead. When I'm happy, I'm ending that command, and I'm now clicking on the intersection of those two, and now it's connecting 45 degrees to the main pipe. And I'm going to select or accept the same settings as previously. And what I've now created is or let's have a look at what we created. So I'm going to select one pipe there, and one. So select similar and into the object view. So now we can see that the blue pipes, the main pipes, are parallel to the red pipes, but a bit lower. And we can see that the service pipes are connected there. I'm now going to create a profile view to be able to manipulate my network like this. I'm going to turn off the display of the alignment and just create a profile view. I'll add the parking and the existing ground and just change the style of the parking. Drawing profile view, and let's just accept those settings and create the profile here. After that, I will create two views to be able to see this one here. Let's now do some edits of the elevation of these pipes. For instance, I want to change the pipe cover. Actually, first I noticed that, oh, my pipes are connected to the existing ground. I want to change to the reference surface. So we have a specific command for that one. You need to do this semi-manually in standard Civil. Here I can select, make sure that all my pipes in my network, including a lot of other settings in the existing pipe network, and it's updated, including the pipes. I want to edit the elevations. For instance, set pipe cover. I want to set the pipe cover for the entire network to be 1 meter. We can now notice that the first pipe is leaning backwards. So we need to fix that. Of course, you can do that manually. Sometimes you have a very long run, and it's hard to see which are sloping backwards. I will make a tweak here first to show that if I run this command here, which is called set minimum slope, it's going to find my pipes from there to there, and I'm going to say I want to have at least 5 per mil in slope going downwards. And you will see that it changed the first 2 pipes because they had problem with the slope, but this one had enough slope, so that one just updated. Or that one didn't change. I mean, it changed the start, but not the end. Also, working with the pipe slopes, I'm going to do our pipe slope command. I'm going to use the label that I created there, so it selects the long pipe run for me. I can now modify any settings in here. If I want to raise the first pipe, I can have a certain slope, 1%. I can have a fixed drop, and I can do apply. If I now look here, I can see that I have a minimum cover of 0.9 for my pipe number 5. If I want to lower it, then I can type minus 0.1. I could also set the elevation if I want to do that. And I will rerun it once again. I can change the slope, of course, and I can do different calculations very rapidly. So after doing those modifications, now my storm network is of course not parallel anymore. So I'm going to select those pipes, select similar. I'm going to add them to the same profile view, group parts in profile view, and select that profile view. And now we can see that though they are in the bottom, not parallel at all. And we have a tool for that as well, raise lower parallel pipes. I'm going to select once again the same pipe run as my ruling pipe network. I want to change so that the outside bottom of my ruling network is 3 centimeters above the top of my blue network. I'm of course going to change this one. Elevate those. I'm selecting the starting and the ending, and they are modified. The service pipes, those are the service pipes here. They are not updated. I could have a dynamic update if I want to. If I start this one, you actually see that they updated immediately. So once Naviate opened this one, they were updated. In here, I have the list of my different service connections and which pipe they are connected to. Now they are updated to match the new elevations of that. I also want to do a very quick teaser of working with sub-assemblies and corridors. So we have a number of quite powerful sub-assemblies for pipe corridors. So I'm just going to create a pipe corridor very rapidly. Going to use this specific assembly and the parking surface, and I'm just going to create that corridor considering my sewage pipes and my storm pipes, and build that one. It's going to build a corridor for me. Now let's select one of the sewer pipes and one of the storm pipes, select similar, and into the object viewer. Let's try to zoom this a little bit. It's being a bit slow because it's rendering. Maybe I should turn off the rendering. We'll do conceptual instead, see if that one works better. Machine is a bit tired. I'll soon hand over to you, Ben. There it is. Let's move over to the render there. I hope you can see the pipes. Yeah, so there it is. And the corridor is built around the pipes and everything is in there. So we can create solids, we can export, we can do the calculations. I had some things I wanted to show about surfaces, but I think I'm out of time. I've already exceeded the time. Sorry for that. I'll hand over to you, Ben, for the wrap up or questioning.
Thank you, Thomas. So yeah, we will move into some questions in a moment. Just to summarize Naviate, it does mean different things for different people, what with having so many different tools in there. Now, whilst appreciating the commercial benefits, many customers, in fact, actually value having the increased capacity just to be able to spend more time on design, checking, and of course being able to add additional value to your own clients. Now, for some, it's removing the need to be able to work late into the evening, possible weekends, just establishing a better work-life balance removing all of the unnecessary manual tasks that we do day in and day out. Now, as far as determining a price point and for customers being able to justify the type of investment, it can be broken down quite simply. So if we consider per person, you have an average charge rate of say £70 per hour. The fact that Naviate Landscape, as an example, costs £80 per month, you'll actually break even if saving just over an hour a month, or if you look at it a different way, 70 minutes per week, in order for it to pay for itself. In most cases, for existing customers actively using the platform, we see about a 15% productivity increase. But what does that actually mean? Well, if you quantify that across a typical organization of say 25 Civil 3D users and the sum of chargeable hours that you'll have at your disposal, it means a wastage of approximately 648 days across the year. So finally, some feedback from a handful of customers benefiting from the platform, and really a call to action. We have a unique website covering all things naviate.com. And of course, if you'd like to hear more about the overall proposition, please drop us an email and we can then organise a one-to-one session and review just how the platform can specifically address your own unique challenges. Obviously, there's so much to cover, it's very, very difficult to do that within the hour. Of course, if you have any immediate questions at this point, we are going to stay on and have the Q&A open. But for those of you that do need to leave, thanks for listening. Thanks to Thomas, and we hope that you found the session useful.